Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. I'm not so sure about the universe. All right, Americans, more ignorant Americans who are getting absolutely roasted into oblivion so far this year. Let's hop into it. Let's just directly get into it. Trump is also at war with Iran. Well, the U.S. is at war with Iran. And it's not going as easy as he thought. I'll cover it more on subsequent videos. But it's not going as easily as I think Trump initially thought. Him being just essentially doing the bidding of Netanyahu, who is also quite cushy and close friends with Jared Kushner, among others, who's, the son-in-law of Trump. Not great levels of corruption and just conflict of interests, but oh well. Let's get to this. Let's just hop into it. We need a laugh. Let's go. On European cities. Why do they even build cities like this? I assume they're talking about the narrow streets and interesting architecture and walkability? No. They're probably talking about what? Maybe these places were built long before there were cars. Why not demolish them? Why not demolish some of them in order to make room for cars and make the city accessible for all people, including me? Yes, let's demolish history and wonderful architecture that's been around for centuries to make room for cars. Why not make the entire world a giant shopping mall? Americans would really love that, wouldn't they? On temperature. Why is my thermostat doing this? It won't go higher than 32. Oh boy. That's typical and very just on brand, I would say. On 5Ks. Just found out that a 5K marathon isn't a 5-mile run. Instead, it's a 3-mile run. If so, why can't it just be called a 3K run marathon? On clocks. Why don't they use normal American numbers on their clocks like the rest of the world? This clock doesn't even have numbers on it. I assume the American just can't read it because it doesn't have numbers on it. But they need it. Do they need giant numbers on it? This would say 114, I guess. Anyways, on $10 bills. This is a Australian banknote. Australians actually, I believe, developed the original technology for polymer banknotes that are so much more durable than paper banknotes. That's fake. $10 bills have Alexander Hamilton on them. I'm not sure who that is on yours, but there has not been a change to the $10 bill. That's ridiculous. Can they not read? It says Australia right on it. And it looks very much different than the US currency. It looks more similar to Canadian currency, actually. With that little... I'm sure a lot of these are security measures. The technology that's put into the banknotes to make sure counterfeiting is not super simple. On distances, the Americans crawling towards... They need water. They're starving in the desert. They see two signs. One says 1 mile that way. The other says 1 kilometer that way. Which way are they going? That way. Because obviously a mile is shorter than a kilometer, right? A mile is shorter than a kilometer. Yes, I Googled it. Because when I drive, it's in freedom units. Freedom units. I haven't heard of that one before. Yes, a mile is 1.609 kilometers. Wow. Astonishing. On Denmark. Denmark isn't selling Greenland. Who said anything about selling? Denmark is a member of NATO. And who owns NATO? Nobody. Typical Americans, very entitled. And you'll see this among many, many mega voters, Trump types. They'll say things like this just very brazenly. Even about Canada. You'll see them spreading this type of rhetoric about, Canada, you have no military, we'll invade you in one day and you'll all just be the 51st state and screw you guys. That's the attitude of a lot of Trumpian imperialist, brainwashed people. On coffee. There's a coffee shop in Oxford that's been open since 1654. Quote unquote, coffee shops weren't even really a thing until a few decades ago. It was like this Seattle oddity that went national to great fanfare. Starbucks was highbrow, not lowbrow. God. On violas. Well, I'm American, and here in the state, miss, we say voila. Voila is an instrument, miss. Know everything and don't know shit. Fave type of person. I've got time. Are they mistakenly thinking it's a violin? I don't understand what's going on here. It's too early in the morning. I have not had enough coffee yet. On Greenland. 13 Americans think they live in Ukraine. Greenland is a part of America, so it's a lot more. Bro, what? Bro, what? Bro, what? Greenland is claimed by the USA. Just more brain rot, imperialist, Trumpian Americans on the internet. On the letter Z. I want to know why Z is, quote unquote, Z in Canada. I thought y'all spoke English. Yeah, we speak English correctly. Unlike yourself. On coins. Why do they have the wrong coins and bills? Those aren't American. Because, like the poster said, it's Australian dollars. You realize several countries use a dollar. It's not US exclusive. If USA was going to buy Australia, would they use USD or AUD? They should drop an IED on this person's head. On Texas versus Europe. Okay, but it would be the biggest country in Europe anyway. Just all you can do is sigh. All you can do is sigh, everybody. On the demise of the United States. Why do I have to click to reveal? What's going to happen? There's never been another nation, ever, that has existed much beyond 250 years. Not a single one. America's 250th year is 2025. The next 4 years are going to be pretty interesting considering everything that's already been said. My local pub is older than your country. Mic drop. Nice. On soccer. Why is soccer such a popular sport in the United Kingdom? Not just the United Kingdom, around the planet. It's the number one sport in the world, likely. I believe so, anyways, I would say. In terms of actual attendance, I would guess. Football is popular all over the world, including in the United States of America. American football is not. Surely that tells you something. Most countries are just too broke to afford helmets and pads. Soccer is just cheaper because all you need is the ball. It wouldn't be an American posting if we didn't have the entire world has no money, only we have money. Damn, American propaganda is dumb. Yeah, the American exceptionalism and America alone and America's the best and greatest capitalist experiment experiments ever existed. It really works in a negative favor to Americans and just increases the wealth of evil billionaires, essentially. On the dictionary. Bruh, we wrote the dictionary. Be quiet. The most used dictionary in the world is the Oxford English Dictionary. Yes, of course it is. But Americans wouldn't look into anything like that because they do not see outside of their bubble at all. On Latin, just saw a job ad for a Latin teacher. Ad specified that successful applicant must be a native speaker of the language. Good luck with that. There's the language 570 million people speak in Latin America. Good luck with what? On car parts, it's windshield, not windscreen. I personally call it a windshield. Nope, that is in the UK, and there it is called a windscreen. Doesn't matter where you are, laugh my ass off. It's a windshield. It shields the wind. A screen would be useless to the wind. Jesus, people are dense. It matters where you are because in the UK they speak a different language, and in that language it is called a windscreen. It's amazing how ignorant you act. Why are you doubling down to fight a losing battle? Battle? I'm right, there is no battle. This is a good example of very typical American entitlement, as well as extreme ignorance of the world, and just kind of assuming that everyone around the planet is party to and aware and uses American language and terms for things. It's ridiculous. On the English language, American English is actually older than British. You did not just say that with confidence. Look it up, Goofy. I hope that person looks up and oh God. On traveling. Mind you, traveling to Europe sucks. Little to no modern conveniences? Like air conditioning, ice, regular beds. It's overcrowded because of TikTok. And doesn't look as good, plus your bags get lost coming or going. Bye. This is so weird. People live there, right? It's crowded because it's populated. Rome is not a small village with 3 families. It has a population of 2.8 million. Yeah, this my comments on the last one and the one before really apply to this one, and probably apply to every single one on this list. On passports, Americans apparently don't know how to spell or create a sentence that makes sense. Americans can just an EU passport and go to any country inside of it. Norway is not in the EU. You think we give any Americans a passport just so? On the sun. Got an EU flag and an eclipse. EU looks into blocking out the sun to fight climate change. If Europeans would just normalize air conditioning, they wouldn't come up with these insane solutions while their brains are frying in the heat. Laughing emoji. Smooth brain comment, air conditioning is one of the reasons for increasing temperatures. Laugh my ass off. On spelling. It's on a recipe website, it looks like. Maybe before you post your recipes, you should spell check them, as you have misspelled some words. Color, correct spelling, color. Flavor, correct spelling, flavor. And there is no S at the end of abbreviation of minutes. It's just min. American entitlement, arrogance. Wins again. 24 on dates. I hate to be the one to tell you all this, but the date actually makes more sense the American way, month, date, year, than the British way. It really doesn't. It should go from the smallest measurement, right? Yeah. Doesn't make sense at all, actually. Hell no. This is on Canada. Wow. This should strike close to home for me. Hell no. Take care of your own country and leave Canada alone. You do understand that if America actually left Canada alone, Canada would essentially dissolve into nothing from economic collapse and the lack of ability to defend itself. Then we would just take you anyway. That's exactly what I spoke about earlier in the video. The American rhetoric that's spread like a disease online, where they just talk about invading countries and taking what they want, and just essentially people with zero shred of humanity or integrity, loyalty. Essentially just horrible people. Okay, 26 on the almighty dollar. There's one country that uses the dollar sign, and it's the USA for US dollars. Wrong. The dollar symbol is perhaps the most recognizable in the world and is used by more than 20 countries around the globe, including the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and Hong Kong. Just laid out very, very straight. I like it. And on U.S. history, most history is U.S. Let me read this again. Most history is U.S. history, that's why. I hope that is a joke or some kind of sarcasm. Well, their hopes are going to be dashed, because that is a very typical comment from a very dumb person. All right, I did my best. We'll see you on the next one. It's exhaustive and annoying where we're headed. But, like I said at the beginning of the video, there's 2 things that are infinite. the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not so sure about the universe, so what does that tell you? All right, later.